For 27 years, I've studied and collaborated closely with Harvard-Berkeley biologist Terrence Deacon, with a focus on making his ideas more accessible without distorting them. Here's my take on a big one. Back and forth we go. We have free will, no, we're determined. DNA explains life, DNA is just a molecule. Consciousness is the hard problem, no, it's solved. Things matter, no, there's only matter. AI is intelligent, no, it isn't. Round and round, point and counterpoint, debate atop debate, generating a frustratingly unceasing biophilosophical tower of squabble. Though some folks love this stuff, most don't. We hate spinning our wheels going nowhere. People just check out, choosing spirituality over science. Simple, pat, solid, reliable, done. Here's the irony. Life itself goes round and round unceasing, traits atop traits. I'm going to draw some parallels here, but first, hey, like and subscribe. Help a brother out. It costs you nothing and does me a world of good. There are two ways that things last. One is durability, a stone existing because it takes a long time to decay. The other applies to us fragile living beings, which once dead decay fast, though here we are, life lasting 3.6 billion years and counting. You are a fragile chemical system of flows pitted against each other, checks and balances that keep you keeping on, processes keeping each other in check within viable limits, instead of your biological processes spinning out of whack, snowballing, as they'll do when you're dying. Too soon? Okay, as I'll do when I'm dying, which, yes, will be way too soon for my taste. I prefer being durable like a rock, but I'm not, so I'm resigned to struggling for my existence as long as I can and trying to minimize time wasted on circular debates going nowhere, even though here I'm arguing that circularity are us. Darwin said evolutionary theory was one long argument. I'm saying so is life, and so am I. Processes pitted against each other. A little history on circular arguments. About 2,600 years ago, a Greek named Epimenides stumbled on an unsolvable problem just when we were beginning to think that logic could solve all problems, pat, solid, eternal. Bummer. His problem was just 3 words, I am lying, which is true if it's false and false if it's true. Expanded into 2 parts to see it. It's true that, and I am lying. Well, if it's true that I am lying, then I'm lying when I say it's true that I'm lying, which means I'm not lying. But if it's false that I'm lying, then I'm not lying when I say it's true. So it turns out I am lying. So it's not true that I'm lying. No, seriously, I'm just kidding. It's that sort of thing. Are you already bored? That's my point. We hate this tedious circular stuff. It goes nowhere laboriously like those biophilosophical debates. We'd like our logic to be as pat and durable as we wish we were. We don't like this toggling back and forth, muddling our minds any more than we like squabbling endlessly with our partners. We want our minds back from that noise. We prefer reliable pat agreement, especially in logic, which we dream could solve reality pat once and for all. Okay, so the liar's paradox, a problem that couldn't be resolved, not then, not since, and not for lack of trying. What's wrong with it? Why doesn't it stay put, either true or false? The problem is simple and complicating. The liar's paradox is self-contradictory. It's about itself and it contradicts itself. It's self-referential and self-negating. I tell the truth is self-referential, but not self-negating. It's a popular declaration for people who need things pat. Double negatives are a no-no. Double positives are a yes-yes. A positive negative, like it's true that I'm lying, is what we call undecidable. The most ambitious try ever was Bertrand Russell and Alfred North Whitehead's mid-20th century 10-year campaign to tighten logic so it eliminated all self-referential, self-negating statements like the liar's paradox. They celebrated their progress for 33 years until a Turkish mathematician, Kurt Gödel, published a short paper that defeated once and for all any attempt to make logic the pat and durable, reality-solving system we'd want. Gödel proved that no matter how you try, you'll never be able to eliminate those toggling circular undecidables. Ever since we've been going around in circles about whether to just keep pretending pat logic can resolve all disputes or throw up our hands and insist that we now know for sure that there's no knowing anything. Let me bring this closer to home. If you've ever used spreadsheet software, you know it locks up if there's any circularity in your table. If cell A1 refers to cell A2 and cell A2 refers to cell A1, there's a potential for ungrounded self-contradiction which does not compute, or rather goes on computing indefinitely, because a change in one cell changes the other, which changes the first. No resolution, just unceasing, recursive undermining. Still closer to home, folks loathe doubt, ambiguity, uncertainty, unresolvable rumination, worrying and whirring around in circles like, I should do A, but A won't work. So I should do B, but B won't work. So I should do A, but A won't work. On and on. Xenophobia used to mean fear of uncertainty, not just fear of foreigners. We need a word like that because that's what we've all got. We don't like arguments much either. They go on and on. Worse, they compound. You're arguing and soon you're arguing about arguing, pointing out each other's character flaws and then the flaws in each other's analysis of each other's character flaws. Speaking of character flaws, we don't much like our self-contradiction exposed. Though we think self-awareness is a good thing, we do it gingerly because it tends to expose that we're ambivalent as hell. It's easy and fun to expose other people's self-contradictory waffle-mindedness, but present company accepted. Don't throw my self-contradictions in my face. As a logic problem, the liar's paradox is undecidable, but that's because we want to solve it once and for all. Over time, though, it works fine. It toggles like a reciprocal engine, or more generally, a work cycle. Each step in the process shifts things to the next step in the cycle, until it comes back around to the first step, restarting the cycle. Physical liar's paradox processes explain huge amounts of what we do. It explains our mobility, walking, biking, driving. It's all circular work cycles. We talk about life being homeostasis without noticing that it's physical liar's paradox processes over time too. Your body is comprised of myriad work cycles that regenerate themselves. A sustainable lineage is too. Reproductive life cycles, chicken and egg reciprocation. Some cycles just spin their wheels, but even with a back and forth going nowhere, something emerges. If you and your partner keep arguing about something, you're having an argument. You might then start arguing about why you're arguing and then argue about why you're arguing about arguing about arguing. Life is like that too, adaptive traits building on adaptive traits. Inanimate nature spins out, falling towards maximum entropy, maximum disorder. To persist, life has to pit the second law against itself. The living take-in flows towards disorder, which we call energy, and pits those flows against each other, checks and balances that keep us from spinning out towards disorder. That's the liar's paradox played out in physical work over time. The takeaway, though we often find paradoxical toggling annoying, it explains a lot. It explains us. We are and aren't like reciprocal engines. Like them, we're checks and balance work cycles spinning our wheels. Unlike them, we're fragile. Our spinning regenerates our ability to keep spinning. An engine's work cycles don't regenerate the engine. Our work cycles today enable us to do work cycles tomorrow. We'll do that over and over until we die, at which point the work cycles will end and will fall apart. Close to home, that's not a happy thought, which is one reason we'd rather think of ourselves as durable. For example, eternal souls that live on for all eternity. That's why the philosophical debate goes round in unceasing circles. It's xenophobia, not fear of foreigners, but fear of uncertainty, especially about ourselves. We prefer thinking of ourselves as durable, operating on timeless logic that can solve things once and for all.